Hi, Tara Salee, Hy-Vee dietitian, here today to talk to you about building better health. With fall right around the corner and the new school year kicking off, this is a great time to look at your diet and make sure you have healthy habits in place. There are certain things that we can look at in our diets to make sure we are choosing the right things or potentially making some healthy swaps to have those healthy building blocks to build a healthier life. So we're going to talk through a few of those things that you can start doing now, and then we're going to make two healthy recipes, a BLT salad as well as an avocado chicken salad. So to start with, we want to make sure that we have our fresh color on our plate at all times. This is step one to building better health. We want to make sure that every day we're striving to get 5 servings of fruits or vegetables in our diet. That could be vegetables such as lettuce or onions, green onion, cilantro, some of the things we're using today, or fruits like our lemon, blueberries, even our tomatoes that many of us have an abundance of probably right now. Now, the easiest thing to do if you're not getting those 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day is to start trying to get 1 serving per meal. If you're wondering what's a serving, it's a cup. A cup of fresh fruit or vegetable is 1 serving. That's about the size of a fist. So if you're not hitting that now, I would challenge you, can you get 1 cup of a fruit or vegetable at every meal? Usually, it's easiest to get a fruit at breakfast. So adding 1 fruit to your breakfast and 1 cup of veggies to both lunch and dinner, and then possibly including a couple snacks of fruits or vegetables as well. The reason why this is important is because these are loaded with nutrition. The color and the pigment here provides phytonutrients that help us to fight diseases and neutralize free radicals, as well as these are loaded with water and fiber. So this helps us feel full as well. If these things aren't in our diet, chances are less healthy stuff starts to creep in. Number 2, our second building block we want to keep in mind is choosing products with less added sugar. So what is added sugar? Some foods naturally have sugar in them in the form of fructose, which would be found in fruits, or lactose, which would be found in dairy products. Now, what we don't want is additional sugar being added to those products just to make it more palatable or tastier. So I use this applesauce as an example here. We have our no sugar added applesauce, which if we look at that ingredient label, I know it's hard to see, but I will read it to you. We have apples and we have water, and that's it. Versus our traditional applesauce, which has apples, high fructose corn syrup, which is a form of sugar. So to make this applesauce tastier, they're adding additional sugar to it, and they do that to products all over the store. So my challenge to you would be to try to find products that have less of that added sugar in it. Can we find a yogurt with less added sugar? Can we find crackers or chips or jam with less added sugar? An easy way to do that is to try to stick to the perimeter of the grocery store. Typically around the edges of the store, you're going to find products in their most natural states, which means usually less added sugar. Next up, can we get more fiber? The recommendation for adults is right around 30 grams of fiber per day. Most Americans are getting about half of this. This kind of goes back to all the fresh fruits and vegetables that we were talking about. If we're getting those in our diet, chances are our fiber is going to be up where it needs to be as well. Another great form of fiber is going to be from our whole grains as well. Why do we want to incorporate fiber? A, it helps us feel full. And B, it's great for our heart and our digestive system. So across the board, trying to get that fiber into our diet is extremely important. Next up, we want to watch out for foods high in salt. So kind of like our hidden sugar, we have a lot of hidden salt in our diet as well. We want to try to cut that salt out or try to purchase products that don't have all of the added sodium. This is going to be better for heart health. It's going to help to lower blood pressure. And salt is something that changes in terms of how much we consume of it. So if you're consuming a lot of salt right now and then all of a sudden cut it out, initially your food may taste very bland, but give it 2 weeks and then you will start to notice that your taste buds have adapted and you don't need all that extra salt. So how do we choose products with less salt? Again, kind of like our added sugar, look at the perimeter first. That's an easy way to cut out the salt. But in addition, you can look for products that have no salt added, like these green beans here, as opposed to the green beans that were right next to them on the shelf that do have salt added. What are we saving here in terms of salt? So for 1/2 cup serving in our traditional can of green beans here, it's 290 milligrams versus 15. That 15 grams of or milligrams of sodium is naturally occurring. It's just naturally in those green beans, so we don't have to worry about that. Other products, things like tuna fish, this would be another one that's typically high in sodium. You can look for ones that say no salt added, like this chunk white albacore here, which has 63 milligrams of sodium versus a traditional that's going to be about triple that. I also wanted to point out some peanut butter options. This is a heavily consumed food, and so when we're choosing peanut butter, we want to try to find the most natural form of that possible. The Smucker's rebranded, so you're going to notice it looks a little different in its packaging, but this is super low in both our salt and our sugar, which we were just looking at, as opposed to other products that say natural but have high fructose corn syrup, sugar, palm oil, and additional salt all added to it. So really get in the habit of looking at those food labels to try to build those healthy habits. What other things do we need to incorporate as those building blocks? Low-fat dairy. This is a great option. So looking for Greek yogurts that are fat-free. There's milk and kefir, lots of dairy products. Lean meats like our rotisserie chicken breast here, as well as ground turkey or ground chicken, and looking for whole grains in place of doing a refined grain. What's the difference there? It's the amount they're processed. So if we have a whole grain, like our sandwich thins here, as opposed to a white piece of bread, this is processed less. So it's higher in fiber, it's higher in vitamins and other nutrients as well. So this is going to be a much healthier choice for us. And anytime we can make that swap from a refined or like white cracker, white pasta to a whole grain, we're going to be healthier for it. So next up, we are going to take some of the things we've just talked about and prepare 2 recipes that both have all of these building blocks for better health in them. The first one we're going to be making is our BLT salad. I chose this one because at this time of year, some of us have a lot of tomatoes around, and this is a great way to enjoy that BLT summery type of dish, but a little bit healthier. So we're going to start with that, and then we'll move on to our avocado chicken salad. The first recipe we're going to make is a BLT salad. This is a great recipe for this time of year because it's using a lot of fresh produce that some of us may already have on hand. So what you're going to need for this is some romaine lettuce or a spring mix or some sort of lettuce you like, either a red onion or you could use green onions, some tomatoes, you could use cherry tomatoes. I opted for just some traditional tomatoes here because that's what I had in my garden. Lemon. We need some bacon, so I grabbed, this is my favorite, it's this Applegate Naturals. This is a no sugar uncured bacon, and I went ahead and microwaved that, so we have that all ready to go over here. You're gonna need some plain Greek yogurt, or you could use sour cream, some buttermilk or regular milk, and then for the dressing we're making to go with this, you'll need some dried dill, some pepper, parsley flakes, as well as some onion powder and garlic powder. So to start with, we're just going to go ahead and get our lettuce into the bowl. This is something you can also meal prep. And like we just talked about in terms of building better health, this is a great way to get a lot of veggies in at one meal. So if you're someone who's maybe not hitting that right now, possibly doing some meal prep to have one salad a day that's just loaded with healthy veggies and lots of color is a great way to do that. So next up, we are going to go ahead and add some onion. I'm just going to add red onion. And I don't really like biting into onions, so I'm cutting it just a bit smaller. All right, there we go. Next up, we need our tomatoes. So you could certainly use cherry tomatoes for this, and that's actually what I use more often, especially if I don't have these on hand. But We are going to use these tomatoes, and I'm just going to dice these. Now when I meal prep this, I kind of like layer my food in the dish. So I put all the tomatoes on one side, all the onions on one side, and then right before I eat it, I toss it all. Same thing with the dressing. You could go ahead and add it, but you don't want to mix it all together until right before you eat it. Otherwise it can get a little soggy. I think I'm going to do one more tomato since this is, I cut up 2 stalks of the romaine lettuce. Alright. And next we will add our bacon. You could also use turkey bacon if you would prefer to do that. This is just kind of for flavor. I'm not putting croutons in this salad, so this is going to be your crunch. Now, when I'm in a hurry, I will sometimes even use like the pre-cooked baked bacon bits just for a little bit of flavor, which works fine too. So this is going to go on this side. All right, so now we're going to mix up our dressing. So for this dressing, you're going to need half a cup of plain Greek yogurt. Now when you're using plain Greek yogurt and cooking, it kind of tastes like sour cream. It's loaded with protein. This is a fat-free, and it's great for making dips as well as dressings. Okay, so here we have that. We need 2 tablespoons of our buttermilk. I don't always have buttermilk on hand, so I have used just regular milk, and it's been just fine. Okay. We are also going to need some lemon juice. I'm going to add a little bit of that. And now we need half of, what is this? Half of a teaspoon of our spices. So this is the onion powder. It's not really coming out very well. There we go. We need our parsley. These are being a little bit stubborn. So remember, whenever you are using any dried herb, you usually use less of those than if it's fresh, because that flavor is more concentrated. So if you have fresh stuff on hand and wanted to use fresh, you would just need to use a little bit more of it for that same flavor. We're using our dill. Now we have our garlic powder. Remember, with powder, it does not have any sodium. So kind of going back to those building blocks, you don't have to worry about added salt when we have powders. Now we do need to be very cautious with all of our spices if it's blend. So if it's like a chicken marinade or a chicken rub and it's already blended up, it's usually going to be higher in sodium. Same as if you were using a garlic salt, obviously. Okay, so then all you do is mix this up. And you have created your own dressing here. And this is where, if I'm going to eat this now, I'd go ahead and toss it. Otherwise, I'm just going to pour it on one side, and I will mix it later, right before we're ready to eat it. If you want to, it's also really tasty if you want to add some fresh avocado. This doesn't work quite as well for meal prep because that avocado browns just a little bit. But if you're eating it, right on the spot, definitely go ahead and add in those heart-healthy fats that are found in these avocados. Remember, fats that come from a healthy source, like monounsaturated, coming from an avocado or olive oil, or even our tuna fish, are good for us. They help pull up our HDL, which is our healthy cholesterol, and is cardioprotective. we don't have to worry about these. We need to worry about the types of fats like saturated fat and fried food and butter and things like that. All right, so here's option one, a BLT salad loaded with our greens. We have some low-fat dairy and also a great way to use those summer tomatoes. So now we're gonna switch gears and we will make our avocado chicken salad. Next up, we have our avocado chicken salad. For this recipe, you're gonna need some avocados, cilantro, a red onion, some chicken. This is actually pre-shredded rotisserie chicken, some roasted corn, a lemon, some salt or pepper to taste, and then if you wanted to also grab either some lettuce leaves or some whole wheat buns to actually make a sandwich or a wrap with. You could also kind of get creative, and if you wanted to add tomatoes or bacon or other things to it, you could do that as well. So to start with, we're basically just gonna assemble this. So we will need to put about 2 cups of chicken and combine that with 2 avocados. Okay, so this is the start of that. So we're just kind of mixing that together. So instead of a traditional chicken salad with like a mayonnaise base, we're using the avocado as the binder here. Next up, we're going to be adding our corn. So for the corn, you're gonna need 1/2 cup of roasted corn. You could roast the corn yourself. I actually just grabbed the fire roasted corn blend from the canned section. I drained it, and then we're just gonna add that. All right, we're going to add some of our red onion again. You can do this to taste, so if you really like red onion, you could certainly add a lot of it. If you don't like it at all, then you don't have to. But any additional veggie we get in there, it's just one more serving, one more ability to add some of that fresh color, those vitamins and minerals to our diet. Whenever I'm making little alterations to a recipe and I take out a veggie, I usually try to replace it with something else I know my family or I like a little better. So if you wanted to take out the onion or take out the corn, then I would replace it with something else. So maybe we add in the tomato, maybe we add in some celery, cucumber, things like that. Okay. Next up, we're going to add cilantro. You could also do parsley if you wanted. We're just really wanting those leaves on the end. I know people have a love-hate relationship with cilantro sometimes. I love it, so I'm putting a lot in. If you don't like it, you could switch it out for another herb that you like. It's just adding some flavor here. Okay. Now we are going to add our lemon juice. So we're using the other half of that lemon we used earlier. I'm gonna just juice half of it, and that's gonna go right on top. And this is helpful for a couple reasons. First off, it's nice because it adds some fresh flavor. But secondly, it keeps that avocado from browning as fast. And then you're gonna do just pepper to taste. Kind of like the cilantro or anything else. If you like pepper, add a lot. Otherwise, you don't have to add as much. All right. So this is the base of that salad. Now, to serve this, you could do a couple different things. If you wanted to add any extras to it, you certainly could, whether it be like the bacon that you maybe had left over from the BLT salad, or if you wanted to add some tomatoes, you could. And then to serve it, you could serve it in a lettuce leaf, or you could also serve it using a whole grain sandwich tin, or a pita pocket. All of those would work great, and you'd also be incorporating those whole grains, which are another really good source of fiber. All right, so there you have a couple easy recipes that are pulling in those building blocks we talked about early on. You know, I'd also challenge you to be mindful about the way you eat. Mindful eating is a strategy that you could embrace. And to do this, you want to slow down when it's mealtime. I know a lot of us are in a really big hurry, but being mindful means slowing down and being intentional about the choices we're making. You want to try and eliminate distractions at mealtime. So turning off screens, putting away books, trying to focus on the food we're eating. It should involve all of our senses. How does it smell? How does it taste? That way we can really be in tune to, are we satiated? Because that's the goal. We don't need to be full at the end of a meal, but we need to no longer be hungry. And so using those strategies to discern between, am I still hungry or have I had enough? Am I not hungry anymore and we can be done? So being mindful is an easy way to basically put some, just to be intentional about all of our meal times. Maybe you're not ready to completely overhaul your diet, but at least being mindful about the choices you're making would be a great start. As always, your dietitians are here to make your lives easier, healthier, and happier. Have a great day.